Okay, in this video we're going to take a walk through the new demo version of WP Optimal. This is the site I rebuilt using the 2.0 version of WP Optimal as opposed to the original demo. Okay, so as you can see, it's pretty much the same as the original. It's just all rewritten in 2.0 and Bootstrap 5. Okay, so it all works pretty much the same as before. Now, there's a couple of things that are different in here. I've added a couple of extra, more advanced things. Now, what it is basically is, as you can see, the highlight colour here is clearly yellow. Okay, so it's all over the place here. Now, what I want to do here is show you how to change all these things at one time. And in here, in this, this is going to be added into our premium themes moving forward as well. It's a little bit of advanced CSS3, and what it is I've created a global colour primary and a global colour secondary, and what that means is these two connections here, these two switches here, will take care of a whole load of things. So probably the easiest way is just to show you. So as you can see, everything's all yellow now, and what we want to do here is I'm just going to change that. That's my yellow primary colour. Right, so let's just change that to, let's say, green. Okay, so I'll just save that, and if I go in here, you'll see this changes to green. So let me just see. So now the primary colour is green. Okay, so all those yellow things change. Apart from, you'll notice here, these are still yellow. That's because they're images and not actual icons. If you used icons, they would change to green as well. But icons, of course, take more performance, so you can go either way, but I prefer the images because they doesn't affect performance in the same way. Same here, these 3 are images, and the same here, these 6 are images, but everything else changes to the green, like that, including your menu and things like that. Okay, so that's basically your primary colour here. Okay, so you can change that to whatever you want. Let's say you want it in red, for example. Okay, so go in here and we'll just refresh that. See, and now we get red, and it all changes. Again, the images won't change, but you can see all the highlight stuff changes like that. Okay, so that's how that works. Very simple. So I'll put that back to the original. And you can notice here that it keeps asking me for my key. That's because I have not updated this to the latest version yet, so you need to add your key before you're able to use this, or your license, before you're able to to use this. So let's have a look here. I'll go back to yellow, and there it is. Right, so everything's back to normal. And if we go down to mobile here, for example, you can see everything just works as it should. Okay, like that. And this form in here, this is actually a WP Forms form. In the original demo, it was a PHP form, which was a bit complicated, but this is very simple. Okay, you just use this like you use WP Forms as normal, and it's all, the CSS is all done for that. Alright, so let's go back here and take a look at the back end. Oh, one more thing I want to say. You've got all your CSS in here, and of course you can change that around. What I've done is, you can see here, let me go back, all these areas all are broken up, right? So what I've done in the CSS is I've broken that up, so you can see here, for example, there's the navigation set, landing page, buttons, features, portfolio. So they're all broken up into the section that you're working with here, so it makes it easier for you to find the design elements. And down at the very bottom, you have from, let's see, here, the media queries, and that shows you the changes when you go onto smaller devices. Okay, what's going on there. But again, that's all set up, so you don't really need to do anything there, unless of course you want to change it more dramatically. Then of course that's where you can add those things. But apart from that, it's all pretty well marked. And the same in here. If we go into the HTML here, I've marked everything with comments, okay, so you can quickly find what you need to change. Okay, so as you can see, all that there, it's not complicated at all. Look, there it is. What I will say is, this was originally built as a one-page website, and so therefore these links, these are all front page links. When we go inside the site, I've added some extra on. There's 8 inner pages for a portfolio, so let's go in here, and you can see that's now a page. Okay, and what's important to notice here is you can see the menu is different. That's not the same menu as the home page. Okay, these are two different menus, and the menu on the home page is actually built into the home page template. It's here. Okay, we go in, and you can see here, there's the menu there. Okay, so that's hand coded. Whereas if you go into the inner pages, like here, then this goes to the, let me show you, this goes to the menu that's actually in here, you know, the WordPress menu. Okay, so that's here like that, right, as normal. The only difference is on the home page itself, you have that menu built in, and of course that's because these all go to links on the home page, right, not inner pages. Same here, I've put in a privacy policy, terms and conditions and so on. So I've put in text here. You would just go in and change your site name there. If you want to use this text, you can if you want, or put in your own stuff. Alright, same disclaimer, you might not need a disclaimer, in which case you just take that one out, things like that. Okay, and here again, these match with your the colouring will change as required. Okay, so that's that, and so we're in the back end here. It says here what should be improved. There's one problem. Look at the site, and that's of course you need to update the plugin. That's all. So once that's done, which as I said before is not done now, you can see it here. So you would just update that, and then you put in your license, and then it's all good to go. And as you can see, there's not very many plugins here at all. There's the WP forms for the form, there's the optimal plugin of course, and the classic editor. I've also added this one. This is a wee plugin I made a while back, and what that does is it stops the Gutenberg and the WooCommerce block libraries JavaScript from loading. Okay, so you don't need that if you're using the classic editor. Okay, if you're using Gutenberg, then you should deactivate both of these. Okay, but my preference is to use the classic editor, and therefore I've added this on to make it even more streamlined. This just takes another few seconds off your load time, this one here. Okay, but if you don't want it, just deactivate it and delete it. Alright, same with the classic if you're using Gutenberg. It's entirely up to you what you prefer. This is just my own preferred setup because you get better performance with this. Alright, so that's how simple that is on the back end here. And remember also, when you log in, when you start the site up, that you'll be logging in as the default, which is just WPO member. And I've written here delete this account, and that's so you remember when you come in, when you start a new site using this, what you want to do of course is create a new administrator immediately. Okay, so you would create a new administrator, and you would then delete this one. Okay, and when you delete that, it will ask you, do you want to keep the content, delete the content, or do you want to transfer it to the new user? Then of course you transfer it to the new user, and all the images and content will be updated to your new admin, same as the other packages. Okay, so that's fine. You've seen how it looked. I think I showed how it looked on the, well, I haven't shown this part, I don't think, but that, again, this is a different menu for the front. So when you go to mobile, this comes up like this, and of course it all works exactly as it should. Alright, like that. So just close that off and then back up here. So okay, well, let's see how it's performing then. It's doing not bad. You know, even with all these bells and whistles on this, it's still doing very well. Look, 98 on mobile and 99 on performance. Okay, so that's not bad at all. And as you know, we're getting more and more into the carbon emissions and trying to keep everything as low as possible as far as every time somebody visits a web page, it requires, it releases carbon, okay? And normally the average website requires or costs 1.76 grams of CO2 with every visit, right, which is not great. So we're very aware of this at WP Optimal, and we keep all these things in mind. Chris M actually has made a podcast which we're going to be releasing shortly, which goes much more into what CO2 is and how it affects websites and the planet, of course, but where it comes from, what it does, and why we need to be careful with it. Alright, but as you can see on here, we ran a test, and it's cleaner than 82% of web pages tested, which is not bad for a site that has all this amount of graphics and colour on it, okay, because the more complicated things are, the more carbon required. So 82 is not bad, and as you can see here, look, 0.26, okay, actually that's more than 82, that's about 85% better than the standard website, so pretty much running on sustainable energy here, and we want to get this better over time. And Google have, again, I need Chris M for this, but as far as I recall, I think Google have mentioned that they want to be carbonless by 2030. I think that's right, but you can check his podcast when it comes out for that, and you'll get all the details. But just so you know, you have to be aware of these kind of things moving forward as well. Now, of course, they're not a ranking factor at the moment, but if Google themselves are going for carbon neutral by 2030, then of course we might as well get into this, be aware of these sort of things now moving forward, because it will become a ranking factor at some point, but that's probably years away right now. However, we like to be ahead of the curve, and we like to make sure things are done the best way. So whether it's required or not, this is still a much better calibre of site for your users, and for the planet. Anyway, I'm not going to get into a rant about that. I just wanted to mention it. Okay. So, yeah, well, good luck with this, and, feel free to use this on whatever sites you want. It's not limited, so you can use it on as many sites as well, it's limited in that you must have an active license, of course, but you can use it on as many sites as you want, no problem at all. When you're actually building this here, you don't actually have to use all of these, of course. You just pull out the bits you don't want or add in sections that you do want. This is just something to get you started, and of course none of these texts or prices or anything mean anything, and neither of these people, none of this is real. It's just a layout to get you started. Okay, that's basically what it is. So feel free to change it up as much as you want. I've shown you how to quickly change your colours, but you can change a lot of stuff in this very quickly, okay, and still keep your high scores like this. Alright, anyway, I hope that's useful. If you have any questions or any comments, then please feel free to leave a message below. Okay, thanks for now. Bye.